What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 11 in my 14th annual 31 Days of Horror, a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And continuing along here today, I decided to do another modern horror film, and that is the 8th installment in the VHS series titled VHS Halloween, which is crazy that there are 8 VHS films. I feel like, well, actually, I think the very first or second 31 Days of Horror I featured the first VHS film, which I think was 2012. So it was either the first year or the second year. I think I reviewed 1 and 2. In some of my first 31 Days of Horror videos, which are probably horrible. But yeah, so that's pretty interesting that it's been that long. And I definitely have not reviewed all of the films on here. It's like so crazy. Like, I can't even remember which one's which at this point. But yeah, I actually have the Wikipedia page pulled up because there's no way I'm going to remember all of the segments. But yeah, so the VHS Halloween is the 8th installment of the nearly yearly VHS series, which I really enjoy that there's a new one like every year. And it's so cool to see a anthology series like last this long. It's insane. So yeah, the first, I guess the prologue / wraparound is called Diet Phantasma, which is directed by Brian M. Ferguson, who I don't know if I know anything that he's ever done. I think he's mainly a music video director from the Wikipedia page here, so I'm not sure if he's done any horror movies before. But yeah, so he directs the prologue, which basically opens up with this company that kind of reminds me of like Silver Shamrock from like the Halloween series, Halloween 3 really, who are basically doing this like internal like testing for a product of Diet Pop, or how some people might say soda, called Diet Phantasma. And they bring in like multiple people and like give them this pop, and it basically like the pop is made from like poltergeists, and it causes people to like freak out and shit. So yeah, that's the frame narrative, which I thought was pretty fun. It was I don't think any of the VHS films like the wraparound's very strong, from my memory, but it was fine. Probably actually one of the more entertaining ones, honestly. And then the first actual segment is Coochie Coochie Coo, which might be my favorite segment, or second favorite. But it basically follows these two high schoolers who decide that they're going to go on one last trick-or-treating hurrah before they go into college. They run into these 3 dudes who tell them about the mommy won't get them because they're too old for trick-or-treating. They eventually run into this house that seems to appear out of nowhere. They go inside, and there's all kind of weird stuff in there. Like, all these people have these like infant faces, and there's this creepy like baby-esque stuff. There's like a mom with like basically like 3 sets of boobs. That it's just wild, and it's just creepy. Honestly, it was probably the scariest one out of all of them, and I thought that one was really cool. That one was directed by Anna Zlakovic, and I don't know. I haven't seen any of her other films based on the. Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of her other movies. Seems like she did some shorts. Yep, I haven't seen anything else she's done. A movie called Appendage from 2023 seems like the most notable. But yeah, I really liked her short film, so I would check out some more. Then we go back to the Diet Phantasma stuff, which is, we see a couple more subjects. And then we have Ut Supra Sic Infra, which was directed by Paco Plaza, which is probably one of the more notable directors in here. Of course, from the Rec series, Rec 1, 2, and 3, as well as Veronica and I think there was a couple other movies I've seen from him. But yeah, that is. Did he do a VHS before? I think. I feel like, why does it feel like he has? I don't. Maybe he hasn't, but it feels like he has. This one follows this dude who's being. This one's in Spanish. Follows this dude who's being investigated by like the police for this like murder that happened at this party where all these people's eyes got torn out. It was alright. I didn't think it was that interesting. It was cool. Then we go back to the other interlude. Again, same thing. And then we have probably another really fun segment called Fun Size, directed by Casper Kelly. And Casper Kelly is known for being a writer / producer primarily. He was a writer on Mandy for the Cheddar Goblin segment. He was a director of Yule Log and Yule Log 2, which is pretty cool. Both of those are awesome. So, in the Halloween spirit, coming from the Christmas spirit. But this one follows a group of people who are leaving a Halloween party. They're all pissed off that there's no candy. So they go up to this bowl of candy that's like, just take one bowl. But like all the candy in there is like nothing. Like it's like not like Snickers or anything like that. It's all this knockoff stuff that they can't figure out what it is. And they take one of them out and it's like a penis. And it's like really funny. And they end up getting sucked into the candy bowl and then like stalked by a being named Fun Size, which is like a humanoid mascot. And this segment's really fun. I really enjoyed this one. Then back to the Phantasma thing. And this one, I think, was the one where they try a lower dosage of the poltergeist and then the dude explodes, which is kind of funny. And then this one, Kid Print, directed by Alex Perry, who is a filmmaker who did a bunch of stuff that I've never seen before, I think. So, yeah. Not too familiar with these VHS directors. It follows this dude who's running a video store where he does these kid print. They're like video documentaries that are used to help search for missing children. And he's like sort of haunted by reports of children that are going missing and showing up dead. And he wants to like protect his 2 daughters and his wife. And he is informed by this mother that her daughter has gone missing, with police officers asking him to get a video out for this girl. He discovers that there are tapes of several children being tortured by one of his employees, and basically it's pretty nasty. But there's he uses these videos to coerce kids and teens and torture and kill them and stuff. And then there's sort of a little bit of a twist. This one was pretty interesting as well. Then we go back to the Diet Phantasma epilogue, which is, pretty funny, honestly. And this last one called Home Haunt, which is directed by Michelle Pitt Norman and R.H. Norman, or Micheline Pitt Norman and R.H. Norman, who I don't know as well. This one is about a father and son who, the father likes to make these like haunts in his garage and stuff like that, and the son, becoming a teenager, doesn't really want to do that anymore. So he sort of is like, I'm not with this, and then the father convinces him to, still do it, and they end up finding this record called Halloween Horrors, and they play it, and it basically causes everything to sort of like come to life. And it just kind of gets batshit, and I think it's like probably my second favorite segment, honestly. I think that, or first favorite, it's like this in the first segment that I thought this movie opens up great and ends great in my opinion. But yeah, this one just gets crazy, especially at the end. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed that one as well. So yeah, overall, it's like a 2 hour long film. There's 5 segments with an interlude. So you got Coochie Coochie Coo, At Serpra Sick Infra, Fun Size, Kid Print, and Home Haunt. So yeah, those are, and then you have the wraparound, which is the sixth. But overall, I really enjoyed VHS Halloween. It's not the best VHS, but I think that like all the segments are decent at very least. So I'll go ahead and give it a 7.5 out of 10, which is pretty much where I'd say the VHS has been between 6 and 7.5 these days. So yeah, pretty solid. Glad that it exists and looking forward to another one next year, hopefully. So with that said, I will talk to you guys later, and peace out.